Hello everyone, dear friends, and today we move on to the popular X-Men movie franchise and recall all the most interesting mutant deaths. Let's start, of course, with the very first movie, which was released in 2000. Here, the first to go to the other world was Senator Robert Kelly, who before that, on the orders of Magneto, was kidnapped by representatives of the Brotherhood of Mutants. Their leader then subjects the Senator to mutation, testing his device to later transform other mutant humans. Kelly is transformed into a jellyfish-like, semi-liquid mutant, with the ability to stretch. His body rejects the mutation, however, and the Senator soon dies after turning into liquid. Next, a mutant toad was killed who, along with Sobolesum and Mystique, was allied with Magneto and actively participated in his operations. However, in the final act of the movie, he converges in a duel with Uror Anro. Storm creates a hurricane-force wind that carries the toad out of the building, then strikes the metal railing it has clung to with its tongue with lightning. The powerful electrical charge instantly kills the toad and throws it back into the bay. Well, the last one to die in the movie is Wolverine's main opponent, Seblazumus. In the final battle, Victor fought Wolverine, but was defeated and thrown off the Statue of Liberty by Jean Grey, who reflected Seblizubov's Cyclops beam. He may have survived the powerful beam and the fall from a height onto a yacht, but he never appeared again after this version. In the 2003 X-Men 2 movie, the only mutant killed was Yuriko Ayama, or Deathstroke. Her skeleton, like Logan's, is also covered in adamantium, but she has 10 retractable thin but strong claws, capable of cutting through almost any known material. After an incredibly hard fight, Logan manages to win thanks to the adamantium he pumped into Yuriko's body. Cashel. In 2006, the movie X-Men Origins: The Final Battle. Here, the first mutant to die was Scott Summers, who felt strongly about Jean's death. But it turned out that the girl survived thanks to her powers, which kept her in a telekinetic cocoon and prevented her from drowning after the dam collapsed. She was awakened by Scott, whom she later unknowingly killed with the power of the Phoenix. But how? I don't know. In the next installment, Jean's madness encompasses Professor Xavier, who goes with Logan and Storm to Jean's ancestral home and meets Magneto. Charles tried to subdue the rampaging Jinn, but she lifted her house into the air with all the mutants inside, after which she split Xavier's body into small particles. He was later resurrected. Don't let her take over. Charles. Next, the mutant Spike, aka Spike, who stood in Wolverine's way, was killed. His main feature is his ability to release bone spikes growing from inside his body. He most often uses them as a throwing weapon, launching the spikes with tremendous speed and force. After a brief fight, Logan and Spike inflict wounds on each other. However, Spike does not have the same regeneration as Logan. In the final battle of the movie, in a personal confrontation, Storm is electrocuted by Callista, who was the leader of a small group of rogue mutants before meeting Magneto. But the main death of the movie fell on Logan's shoulders. He had to engage in a battle with Jean Grey, who has finally mastered the power of the Phoenix. Jean, using all her power, begins to destroy everything in her path. And only Logan, who has incredible regeneration, finds himself able to put an end to it. After getting to her through incredible agony and torture in the form of skinning her alive, Logan kills Jean at her own request. What? You want to die for them? Not for them, for you. Save me. I love you. The next movie is X-Men Origins. Wolverine was released in 2009. The first mutant killed was Christopher Bradley, nicknamed Thunder, who could control electrical devices. He was part of Stryker's mercenary team. After the team disbanded, he was killed by Victor Creed, who was hunting down former co-workers to get samples of their DNA for use in the Weapon X project. Yes? Come on in. I always thought Wade would knock on my door. Wade, not anymore. Then Stryker's personal bodyguard, Agent Zero, who was also part of Team X, traveled to another world. Zero managed to track down Logan, who took refuge on a farm where an elderly couple lived. Zero kills the elderly couple, telling Stryker that Logan did it, who was already evading the chase on a motorcycle at the time. Wolverine manages to jump on a helicopter and cause it to crash. Zero survives, but Logan, as he walks away, sets fire to the spilled fuel with his claws, causing an explosion. In the final act of the movie, Wolverine fights Wade Wilson, who was turned into Weapon 11 by Stryker. He has absorbed the powers of 11 mutants, including Logan's abilities, but instead of adamantium claws, he has one long blade on each hand. Logan takes the fight, which continues on top of a giant pipe. He gives up until his brother Victor comes to his aid. Together, they defeat Wade. Wolverine chops off his head and throws him down. Though the head then opens its eyes and mouth, we never saw this version of Deadpool again. In the 2011 movie X-Men First Class Origins, the first mutant killed was Armando Munoz, nicknamed Darwin, whose main ability is to automatically adapt to whatever situation or environment he finds himself in, which theoretically allows him to survive in any conditions. However, this didn't help him when he encountered Sebastian Shaw, who absorbed Havoc's destructive wave and used it to kill Darwin. In the final movie, Magneto gets close to Shaw, who turns out to be a stronger mutant than Eric. However, he manages to remove Shaw's helmet, thus letting Xavier into his mind, who immobilizes Sebastian, after which Magneto kills his nemesis with the very Reichsmark that Schmidt had asked him to transfer 18 years earlier. In the 2013 movie Wolverine Immortal in 2013, the only mutant killed was Viper, who massacred Yukio in the final act of the movie. Despite its small size, the Japanese defeated Dr. Green by stringing it up on a rope. In 2014, the movie X-Men Origins Days of Future Past, in which we were shown quite a few mutant deaths. In the future, while a Wolverine sent back in time is trying to restore order, the X-Men are battling incredibly powerful guards created by humans to capture mutants. They mercilessly kill many X-Men such as Colossus, Iceman, Sunspot, Lucas Bishop, and many others, but they have all been resurrected thanks to an altered past. The next X-Men Apocalypse 2016 movie immediately begins with the death of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse: War, Famine, Death, and Morok, who save their master's life at the cost of their lives. Following this, one of the new Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Angel, dies. In the final battle with the X-Men, he and Psylocke attack the hero's plane, but Kurt spends all his strength to move the entire team to one of the surviving buildings nearby. Psylocke jumps off and is saved, while Angel is left in the corkscrewing plane and crashes. Well, the movie ends with the gruesome death of Apocalypse himself, who has felt the full force of Jean. At Charles' request, she unleashes her uncontrollable Phoenix power, first tearing off all of his armor, and then tearing apart the body of Ensabanur, who eventually turns to ash and scatters in the wind. In the 2017 film Logan, the first mutant to die at the hands of X-24 was Charles Xavier, whom he impaled with his claws right in bed. In the final scene of the movie, we saw the death of 2 Wolverines at once. To defeat Logan, Stryker released his young clone against him, who naturally turned out to be much stronger than the old man. Having steadfastly withstood the entire fight, Logan still loses, but his father is saved by Laura, who kills X-24. In 2019's X-Men Origins, Dark Phoenix movie, we see the unexpected death of Mystique. She tried to calm Jin, who was no longer in control of herself. However, a surge of aggression, amplified by Phoenix's powers, throws Mystique into the wooden wreckage. When that happens, everyone around her suffers. I'm not afraid of you, Jean. The issue ends with the final scene of the movie, where Jean kills many aliens. However, in order to kill Margaret, who is trying to take her Dark Phoenix powers and not harm those around her, Jin takes her into orbit where, sacrificing herself, she embodies the Phoenix and disappears after a bright flash. That's all for now. Don't forget to give us a like.